I enjoy the outdoors. Whether it's hunting, hiking, camping, you name it, if it involves being out in nature, in the woods, I enjoy it. But depending on how far I go or how long I plan to be there, I think it's wise, I like to carry a shelter. And when we consider a shelter for being outdoors, I think there are three things we should consider. We need, number one, something to sleep on. Number two, something to sleep under. And number three, something to sleep in. Now, when I go outdoors, I generally take a pack. And when I consider a shelter, I don't like sleeping on the ground. I like to be elevated, so I use a hammock. That's what I sleep on. Now, to sleep under, I use a rain fly, a tarp that goes over my hammock to protect me from the wind, rain. And then to sleep in, first, I use a bug net because mosquitoes love me. And number two, I use a sleeping bag and a sleeping bag liner. Now, why do I share this with you? Well, I thought about this in my quiet time today. Reading in Psalm 61, David was a shepherd, he was a soldier, he knew what it was like to be in the wilderness, and he knew the importance of a shelter. In our journey of life, we can find ourselves in the wilderness, in the elements, if you will, the storms of life. And we can find ourselves in emergencies. And listen to what David says in verses 1 through 4. Hear my cry, O God, attend unto my prayer. From the end of the earth will I cry unto thee. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. For thou hast been a shelter for me, a strong tower from the enemy. I will abide in thy tabernacle forever. I will trust in the covert of thy wings, Selah. David had something to sleep on. Like me, he wanted to be elevated. He said, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. He had something to sleep under. He said, Lord, you have been my shelter. You have been my strong tower. You're above me. You're my covering. And then he had something to sleep in. He said, Lord, I'm going to abide in your tabernacle forever. Under the covert of your wings, I'm going to take refuge. That was his comfort, the Lord. So remember, as we're traveling on this journey of life, it sometimes takes us into the wilderness, in the elements, and sometimes emergencies. And my encouragement to you today is don't forget your shelter.